We all know about cancer and common cancers. So, endometrial cancer, skin cancer, liver cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer.
Yeah.
These 5 cancers, people who drink coffee have a lower cancer mortality from these. So, 5 cancers: cirrhosis of the liver, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's dementia, the early stage of Alzheimer's called cognitive decline,
Okay.
low risk in coffee drinkers, low risk of type 2 diabetes. Here, both decaf and regular coffee work. And if you drink 4 to 6 cups, there's a 40 to 54% reduction in developing type 2 diabetes. And if one already has type 2 diabetes and they drink 2 cups, regular or decaf, there's a 30% reduction in cardiovascular mortality.
Beyond wine, we really care about health. The health of the planet and the health of each other. That's what inspired us to start this business. Our family of team members meets every morning for a group meditation, followed by an open gratitude session. We believe a sound mind with a focus on peace is the best instrument for change. Joint meditation is the cornerstone of our company culture, and it helps us remember what's important, spreading joy and love, just like our family growers. Our family is a collection of passionate, health-conscious individuals who love to laugh and enjoy each other's company. We eat seasonally, grow our own vegetables, cook together, and share wine. Our team is incredibly dedicated to our mission. Everything from sourcing the wines to answering service questions. Your natural wines are found and sourced around the world by our wine team. They taste every one, oversee their lab testing, and choose exactly which ones go in which box. If you order, your individual box will be packed by our incredibly hardworking fulfillment team. If you have any questions, your service requests will be handled by a wonderfully loving member experience family who only have one goal in mind: your 100% happiness. This video is put together by our talented media team, filmed and edited in-house, just like the rest of our artful media. From our unique creations to our printed lifestyle piece called A Matter of Taste. We put love into everything we do, and we hope to share it with you.
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your co-host, Dr. Aaron Ernst, along with superstar, rock star, Dr. Chris Demczar.
Yeah,
Thank you for being here today.
Of course.
We are continuing our conversation in the series on type 2 diabetes and managing this chronic epidemic condition that so many people deal with on a regular basis using more natural and holistic techniques. And we talked about previously the nerve connection to type 2 diabetes, how there can be a vagal and or spinal nerve interference causing disruption in communication between the brain, the liver, the pancreas, etc.
Right.
We spent some time last week talking about that undiagnosed toxin-induced insulin resistance, how there can be heavy metals, pesticides, and herbicides blocking the receptor, thereby making your sugars go up, thereby being an underlying cause of type 2 diabetes. And yet the medications that are often prescribed only make the toxicity worse. which is why so many people who are on some sort of medication for controlling sugars usually have been on them for years.
Exactly.
And when you start addressing nerve and toxic related issues, you can see a drastic drop in blood sugars, A1C, etc. And today we get the ominous task of connecting the dots between your gut health and your diabetes.
Yeah, and it really comes down to, do you want to manage your diabetes for your lifetime, or do you want to be able to actually heal from it? And so what we've done is we've broken down the different root causes of what's actually going to lead you to develop diabetes, and then how you can reverse that, not only stop it, but reverse it and heal from it naturally. And yeah, definitely, like you said, that word ominous, it's the one that gets kind of almost thrown away medically, and we have to bring it to the forefront as it's this root cause. It's one of the main contributors to why you have diabetes, and that is a leaky gut.
And think of it like this. So many people have been told that the cause of their diabetes is either lack of exercise, lack of a proper diet, some sort of a genetic influence. And we're here to say that, while some of those may be involved, we're now finding it's actually related to more these three root causes. So
Exactly.
if there's nerve interference in your spine, if there's toxicity, if there's a leaky gut, and you're not addressing that, and you're someone taking medications for type 2 diabetes where your doctor's been constantly telling you, hey, we got to get the A1C down, and you're dieting and exercising, it's not working, take a different approach. Let's take a look into more of the functional, holistic perspective. And what you'll often find is by clearing these interferences, we've seen patients drop their blood sugars in as little as 24 hours, doing some of the gut clearances and the things like that. So today's topic again is dysbiosis, leaky gut, and how it is a cause of type 2 diabetes. We're going to talk about the surprising causes of that gut leak. What is it for real, and how do you clear this naturally?
Exactly. And let's just combine all three of these shows together real quick. If you have some sort of neurological interference,
Yes.
where do those nerves go to? Well, you've got a whole plethora, numerous different nerves that are going to end up at your gut. So if there's a neurological interference within your spinal cord, it would make sense that now there's something going on with your gut, regardless of whether you have a leak or not.
Correct.
So you should investigate the gut leak. You should investigate your gut. Then if you have a toxin, like what we talked about last week, there is a toxin that is blocking some process. Well, where is that blockage occurring? More likely than not, it relates to something going on within the digestive tract, within your body's ability to regulate sugars and regulate your metabolism. That's going to influence whether you have diabetes or not. Where's that happening? In your gut. So if there is some sort of toxic overload, you want to check out the gut. So you can see it's not just like it's one or the other. This is a one and the other and the other that you really want to dive into and investigate.
And usually they come as a perfect storm, like you mentioned. So there's always typically some nerve involvement, some toxicity, and some gut leak. And if you ignore that and try to go to the gym and hop on the treadmill to lose 10 pounds to make your doctor happy, or to try to make your sugars better, or, we go with a Whole30, or we switch to just eating better foods, sometimes you'll see only a minimal effect. And we want to get drastic changes, A1C dropping either from diabetic to pre-diabetic or pre-diabetic to normal within a 90-day window. And that's going to require a deep dive into your metabolism, into the surprising causes, because again, a lot of people think they're eating a healthy diet, but is actually creating more inflammation to their intestines. And so we have this approach today to guide you through identifying if you have a dysbiotic gut leak, knowing what you can do to fix it, and best of yet, letting that be the driving force of why your sugars drop over time. And if you're interested, all during our show today, we're giving away our Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook. It's chock full of all the resources we've discussed for the last 3 weeks. It has, the nerve interference, it has the microbiome interference, it has the toxicological interference, as well as the tests that you can get, and even a cheat sheet guide on how to read those tests and interpret them to discover what's your cause. In addition, we have a masterclass coming up on the 8th of April. It's at 10 a.m. in the morning, where we're going to take you through a deep dive on solving type 2 diabetes, lowering A1C, lowering blood sugar, increasing energy, burning fat, getting your resilience back, and all that is free. We just need your name, the word diabetes, and your email. Text it over to 704-906-2094. Again, 704-906-2094. The Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook is yours. The masterclass, which is coming up, I think, next Saturday, is yours. And if you or a loved one are dealing with elevated blood sugar, elevated A1C, weight loss resistance, fatigue, just that classic metabolic syndrome, this ebook and that event is for you.
Yeah, or if you're being told, hey, yeah, you've got some of those things and it's because it's genetic. It's hereditary. You were born with it. You had it before you were even born. And now it's just finally come to the surface where it's a problem and you're 20, 30, 40, 80 years old. We're here to tell you that that is just simply not the case.
Yeah.
Come and learn how you can heal that all on your own.
So listen, there's multiple research articles, even dating back as late as 2018, which I say late, but that was like
5 years ago.
Not that long ago, connecting the fact that if there is a gut permeability issue, these are huge words, we have to talk about this, that leads to an inflammatory process which can spike autoimmune antibodies that go against the insulin receptor.
Yep.
Now again, like, okay, so think of it like this. If you have type 2 diabetes, you may have an autoimmune reaction going on under the surface that you didn't know about, where there's an intestinal inflammation process. Now, what happens is our gut is designed to be a filter. So we should be keeping the bad bacteria, keeping toxins, keeping pathogens out of our bloodstream, allowing it to go to the toilet, of course.
Right.
And we filter through the cells of our intestines the healthy nutrients, the good fats, the proteins we need, and we let only certain things come across the barrier to get into our blood. What they're now discovering is that when our gut gets inflamed, and you and I have been in practice many years, and we know that most of the people we test will come in with some sort of diagnostic condition. We test their gut leak, and it's like about a 90% chance we find inflammation and gut leak, partly because of the type of world we live in today, the exposure to toxins, the number of people that take a medication on a daily basis thinking it's just, it's part of my normal rhythm, and the pesticides and herbicides and fungicides we get exposed to. Over time, what happens is it creates a barrier break, so the cells spread apart. Microscopic holes develop within the intestinal lining. So if you're watching our live stream, check out this infographic we found. Healthy cells are tight-knit next to each other. They prevent a leakage of bacteria, pathogens, medications, etc. into the bloodstream. When a gut is leaking and inflamed, the cells spread apart, so there's these gaps, little tiny microscopic holes. And here's where the problem becomes, especially if you're type 2 diabetic. Undigested food proteins, bacteria, toxins, even viruses can leak through the membrane, get in the bloodstream. That spikes an inflammatory process, which leads to sort of an auto-programming of your body to become sensitive to itself. So instead of repair and regeneration, what happens is these antibodies can float around and start attacking hormones, organs, and in the case of type 2 diabetes, we even see something where it can go after the insulin receptor and remove it from the cell membrane. So now your body makes insulin, but there's no receptor present because it's been attacked, and then it gets labeled as type 2 diabetes.
Exactly. And this makes a lot of sense because, when you think about it, your body does such a good job keeping what it wants in and what it doesn't want out. And that could be the difference of, we look at a lot of tests and lab tests all the time. That could be the difference of one cholesterol molecule, one bacteria molecule. Your body wants it in or your body wants it out. And it can be that specific. That's how innately intelligent our bodies are. And so when this leaky gut happens, and now you've got more things going into your body than what's supposed to, it makes sense that your body's not just going to sit by and just be like, okay, well, I guess this is happening now. Yeah. Your body has to try to do something about it to try to fix the problem. And so the first thing your body's going to do is start developing this antibody response. Yep. And now, is there an immediate sensitivity, or how would I say it? Is there an immediate antibody that's going to be developed to the insulin receptor? Does that just magically happen?
No, it's a cascade. So it starts with the leak first, then it leads to an inflammation second, then it typically will spill over into food sensitivities. Then as you become sensitive to foods, it starts building into an autoimmunity. And then as the autoimmunity is present, you have to reach a certain threshold of antibodies before the actual attack starts to take place. So it could be 5, 10, 15 years that you are undiagnosed, non-diabetic, but yet with a gut leak.
Right, non-symptomatic even.
And then it leads into a condition where you get labeled as type 2 diabetic in this analogy, but for 10, 15 years, this gut leak and inflammation has been present.
Exactly.
So think of it like this. The symptoms of a gut leak usually start off with, like we talked about, all of a sudden certain foods you eat now no longer agree with you. And I'm talking like, you get bloating, you get sometimes a runny nose, cough, congestion. and just this sort of sense of reactivity. You know, when I ate this, my body now feels like this. And usually it shows up as gastric symptoms. So bloating, diarrhea, constipation, etc. All of this, when undiagnosed as a leaky gut case, most people would think, I just ate something off the day before.
Right.
But these are early warning signs that there's an inflammatory process going on within the gut. Then it leads to weight gain. And here's why. If I'm leaking bacteria, toxins, and pathogens into the blood tissues of my intestines, what's one good thing that your body could start packing down around your intestines to try to hold all of the toxins, the inflammation, everything from getting into your system?
Well, it could do
fat.
Lots of fat to try to then, pack
Yes.
that and not let anything come through.
So one way of knowing if your gut's potentially leaking is, do you have more of this abdominal weight gain that is unresponsive to diet and exercise simply because the fat cells are there saying, there's a leak present to the intestines. I'll grab these molecules, the poisons and the bacteria and the toxins to try to save you. But as a result, it piles up in our intestines, and then we start spilling over into weight loss resistance, which can then lead to chronic type 2 diabetes, etc.
Exactly. I can't tell you the number of patients that will come into our office and they're looking for weight loss, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, I've tried this before, I've tried that before, I've done the whole health thing, I've done the healthy eating thing, I've had my blood taken, they've looked at everything, they've looked at all the tests, but you haven't been diagnosed with a leaky gut yet, and you haven't actually tried to heal from the leaky gut. So here you are trying to do a weight loss program when your body's saying, no, we can't lose this weight. This extra fat is literally the only thing keeping you alive right now.
Yes. So let's talk about how do we diagnose this, okay? Well, number one, we can go based off symptomatology. So if you are saying like, hey, every time I eat this, I get this reaction. I get bloating and abdominal discomfort and distension, and like my nose starts dripping while I'm eating foods, and I get a headache the next day after having this meal. That's number one. We know chronic weight gain that's resistant to classic weight loss techniques is another symptom of a gut leak. We know it's brain fog and difficulty of concentration because your gut is your second brain. So if you inflame the intestines, you inflame the brain, and that leads to focus, memory, cognition issues. It can even be anxiety and depression. One huge thing we see a correlation to is skin reactivity. So psoriasis, eczema, skin rashing, and a gut leak. And then because it becomes an inflammatory process, it can lead to seasonal allergies, asthma, hormone imbalances, and then downstream even diagnostic autoimmune diseases, which according to even Healthline and WebMD as of 2020, 2021, diabetes type 2, even type 1 as we know, falls now into a category of autoimmune disease. Where it's not genetic, it's not necessarily your diet, it's your body attacking itself. If you want one way to get out of it, download our free ebook, Diabetes Heal Thyself. All you need to do to grab this is text the word diabetes, your name and email to 704-906-2094. We'll send you a copy of the ebook, and you get free access to our masterclass, which is next Saturday, on destroying diabetes naturally, reducing A1C, reducing sugars, losing weight, getting your energy back, burning the fat around your abdomen, and solving not only just leaky gut, but nerve interference and toxicity. And you watch, you'll hear from patients and local charlatarians who have broken their diabetes in 90 days, destroyed their A1C in 6 months, become undiagnosed where they're not using insulin or medications because they went to root causes instead of managing symptoms.
Right. And you may be listening to the show right now and going, well, I don't have diabetes, but Dr. Ernst, you just mentioned a few things. Yeah, I get bloated after certain meals that I eat. I've got this extra weight that's stubborn and won't come off. I have the seasonal allergies. I have this thing called exercise-induced asthma, where I can't really work out really hard, and maybe that's why I can't lose weight. Whoa. Do you see where I'm going with this? It makes perfect sense now after listening to you, Dr. Ernst. Here's all the symptoms of someone that's been dealing with a leaky gut for years. Finally, some of the symptoms are starting to come to the surface, but the problem that you guys have doesn't have anything to do with those symptoms. You've got to address the underlying leaky gut. And even if you're saying, I haven't been diagnosed with diabetes yet, well, guess what? You might as well have been diagnosed because you are on your way towards not being able to manage your diabetes because of the autoimmune attack that is coming your way very shortly.
Yeah, and listen, they estimate that 1 in 3 Americans, if they were to test their blood sugars when they wake up in the morning, would be diagnostically pre-diabetic. Not knowing it because they had no clue because they're never testing. So, but again, Is that the problem? No, it's really that a third of Americans more than likely have a gut leak. We know 90% of Americans struggle with toxicity issues and neurological interference. So it's almost kind of like at some point you have to wake up and realize you can be labeled healthy now, but have pre-diagnostic categories forming in your body without knowing it. And you can wait until you get diagnosed to have your doctor take care of it, or we can take an action step now and start evaluating our health from a functional perspective.
Exactly. Well, and like, I want some light bulbs to go off in your minds, because one of the most fulfilling things, at least I don't know about you, Dr. Ernst, but in my line of work with what we do here that I get to see is when a patient comes in and they've been dealing with seasonal allergies for several years. They've had bloating after meals. They've had brain fog. They've had these random skin outbreaks, which make no sense, and there's no potion or cream or lotion that's helping to make it go away. And you know what? They take the functional steps to heal the underlying root cause of what's going on, and you see those things start to go away quickly, whether it's one day, whether it's a week, whether it's a month, whatever their body needs. But to see, oh my gosh, I've been dealing with this for whatever seems like this long period of time, and it's just gone all of a sudden. How did that happen? Well, it makes sense now. It's because the underlying root issue, whether it was leaky gut, whether it's that neurological interference, whether there was some toxicity, maybe there's a toxicity that's leading to the leaky gut. Maybe there's a toxicity that's helping to move your body into having this autoimmune response, whether it's to an insulin receptor, whether it's to one of the other thousands of receptors within your body. Heal from that, and you start to see all this surface level stuff go away, and the quality of life, the light bulbs that go off in these patients' mind, it's the most beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely. So let's talk about how do we actually identify a leaky gut? We can go based off symptomatology, but the joy of it is there is new technology where we can run a very simple urine test that actually looks at organic acid biomarkers. So think of them as like, I'll call them red flags, all right? If this marker is elevated, it indicates the following. And there's a beautiful lab that we use called Physician's Lab that takes your urine and identifies about 9 different biomarkers for gut health. We can look and see if there's a presence of pesticides and herbicides. We can actually measure the amount of inflammation in the intestine and, to a degree, the percentage of the irritation. There are now tests that will help you to identify, do you have too much bad bacteria? Is there an opportunistic infection? And again, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, why isn't my medical doctor tested this? Because there is no pill to date that fixes a leaky gut. When we come back in a couple minutes from our commercial break, we're going to go into the surprising causes of a leaky gut, what you can do right now to start fixing it. And if you are a type 2 diabetic, I implore you, download the ebook. It's Diabetes Heal Thyself. Text the word diabetes with your name and email to 704-906-2094. Join us next Saturday for the masterclass. We're going to go step by step through what each test reveals, the evaluation results, how you can implement a protocol right now to begin lowering your blood sugar, lowering your A1C, and solving this thing called type 2 diabetes. And even if you're someone, like you said, well, I don't think I have type 2 diabetes, should it be on here? I would say yes, simply because, again, 33% of Americans, if tested right now, would be classically diagnostic as pre-diabetic. And it's a path that's heading towards, the condition being developed in the future. Solve it now, and you can fix that.
And I don't mind saying live on the air that I technically would fall into that category. I just had a bunch of my labs rerun to test where my root cause health things are. And one of the things that popped up was I'm having the precursors to what is going to turn into a leaky gut if I'm not careful. And there's a few different reasons for that. I know that's one of the things we're going to get into in the second half of the show, but now I know. That's the beautiful thing. I figured out exactly what's going on, and I can stop it, and I can take some action steps. Not only am I going to stop whatever is going on in its tracks, but I'm going to reverse it. I'm never going to get to a point where I have a leaky gut because I'm testing and I'm being proactive and I'm taking action steps now so that my health is maintained at the highest level possible.
Yes. So this is your chance now to download the Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook. We'll send it directly to you. Text the word diabetes with your name and email to 704-906-2094. Not only is the ebook yours, but next Saturday is a live event. We're hosting it through a online platform. You don't even have to leave your house. You just open your computer, you click the link, and we're going to have a conversation about fixing your health, lowering your blood sugars, lowering your A1C, lowering your weight, boosting your energy, boosting your brain power, your essence, your healing potential. And again, if you're struggling with type 2 diabetes, this event is going to set you free and make you heal yourself by becoming your own doctor. 704-906-2094. Text the word diabetes with your name and email. It's the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. We'll be right back.
See you guys.
What if we told you coffee was good for you?
Coffee is the single highest source of antioxidants in the Western diet. More antioxidants than kale, more antioxidants than 70% dark chocolate, and more antioxidants than blueberries.
In fact, what if we told you that coffee is really good for you?
Research shows that 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day dramatically enhances performance in high-intensity exercise, improves memory, reaction times, and overall cognitive function, decreases risk of depression, promotes weight loss by boosting metabolic rates, reduces risk of type 2 diabetes up to 40%, decreases risk of liver cancer up to 71%, reduces risk of Parkinson's up to 30%, and decreases risk of Alzheimer's up to 65%. Overall, coffee drinkers live longer. People who drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day have about a 15% lower risk of premature mortality compared to people who don't drink coffee.
And what if we told you that the health benefits of coffee could actually be increased through conscious roasting, sourcing, and processing? Introducing Purity, a health-conscious coffee company. At Purity, we've brought together a world-class team to analyze every step in the production chain from cherry to cup. We make decisions with only one thing in mind: how can we make the healthiest coffee in the world? Here's our 3-step process. Step 1, we search the world for the highest quality organic green beans that meet our exacting standards. Way less than 1% of coffee worldwide fit our sourcing criteria. Step 2, we test, and test again to create a specific roasting protocol for each harvest that maximizes healthy compounds and minimizes toxins. Step 3, we nitrogen pack our coffee within 48 hours of roasting and deliver to your door every 2 weeks to ensure maximum freshness. The result is the ultimate coffee drinking experience. You'll not only taste the difference in our clean, healthy coffee, with Purity, you'll feel the difference.
Our coffee club members report a bright, alert lift with less jitters than regular coffee and much more gentle on the stomach.
Sign up for Purity today, and you'll never have to worry about your source for healthy coffee again.
Hi, my name is Gary Greenfield with Greenfield Water Solutions, and I want to introduce you to our newest product, the MR500. It's a whole house structured water filter system. It's set up in an all stainless steel multi-round filter housing. It features inlet and outlet for the water, a bleeder valve for when you're changing out the filters to reduce pressure, and to remove the top for access to the filters. We simply open up the clamp, remove the top, and this plate here holds all the filters in place. Simple to remove. It comes out, and you can see what we have on the inside here. It's 5 Aquamedics filters and a vortexing tube and a harmonizer. That's the whole system. This is designed to filter 5 gallons per minute, and all of the contaminants that it does remove are listed on the website, which is a very broad array of contaminants. These are the highest rated filters that I know of on the market that are filter cartridges. They can be changed out yearly. And of course, the process is very simple. You won't have to hire a plumber to do a change out. And the filters are available from Greenfield Water Solutions. And if you want to know more about this, you can read about it on the product page or give us a call. Thanks for watching. That's it for now from Greenfield Water Solutions.
To bring you the best natural wine the world has to offer, we've designed a fully curated membership program. Every selection you receive is different and unique. Every wine is picked by our wine team, lab tested for purity, and curated into a special box for your enjoyment. So how does the membership work? We offer 2 main options: a half case of 6 bottles or a full case of 12. You can request all reds, all whites, or a perfect split of both. Then you can set the frequency, monthly or every other month. We offer a similar simple membership for rosé and sparkling wines. After you choose these basic options, we'll do the rest. With every box we send you, we aim to present the greatest diversity of flavors, textures, and profiles. There's a healthy mix of the classics, but also rare varietals. We do this because natural wines taste different from their commercial counterparts. We want to share the best possible experience with you, so you can discover new wines you love. And you can always reorder a wine that took your heart, or ask us to avoid certain profiles. The best part is, you don't need any wine knowledge to fully enjoy these boxes. We curate our selections to be enjoyed without worry. Ultimately, this is Dry Farm Wines. We are so grateful to be able to share the power of natural wines with you.
Would you like to experience a better night's sleep? Want to feel well rested and ready for your day? Discover an amazing solution with Celliant Sleep Recovery. Our Celliant Sleep Recovery products are made from a patented yarn embedded with a blend of 13 infrared active minerals. Celliant technology never washes out. The benefits will last for their entire lifespan. Minerals reflect the body's own energy by using Celliant infrared active technology, boosting your oxygen levels and improving circulation to reach REM sleep gracefully. Our customers love to comfortably sleep throughout the night because of Celliant. We've conducted 9 independent clinical studies by well-respected scientific institutions and universities that prove the many positive effects Celliant has on the body. Our technology is designed to help you achieve a refreshing sleep recovery. Experience the foundation your body deserves. Start waking up refreshed and always ready for the day ahead. It's time to achieve the best sleep of your life to unlock your hidden potential. Start experiencing a better night's sleep with our Celliant Sleep Recovery products today. Celliant. Recycle your body's energy.
Happy Saturday. Welcome back. Good afternoon. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. Hey, it's a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health problems. I'm your co-host, Dr. Aaron Ernst, along with co-host Dr. Chris Demczar.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Doc.
What an incredible conversation we're having today. Hey, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about, is type 2 diabetes possibly caused by a leaky gut, dysbiosis, or an inflamed intestines? And guess what the research says? Yes,
Absolutely.
There's a huge connection between the two. We're looking at National Library of Medicine, even PubMed, even Healthline, even WebMD. If you just type in leaky gut and diabetes, you're going to find this thought that they're now saying medically type 2 diabetes may have an underlying root cause with a condition known as increased intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut, where the cells of your intestines, instead of being tight and knit together, acting as a filter, protecting your blood from toxins and pathogens and antibodies. Yep. We irritate our intestines, which we're going to talk about what are the things that do that. It leads to this microscopic leak, and we spill over undigested food particles, we spill bacteria, we spill viruses, we even spill medications that we're taking into the bloodstream, which creates an inflammatory process that then affects the functionality of our body.
Right. And this inflammatory process that you're describing, Dr. Ernst, it may be there for a couple days, weeks, months, years. before you ever feel anything that you think, oh my gosh, something must be wrong now. So the problem started years ago, and normally it is years ago with a lot of the patients that we work with, before you realize and recognize that there is a leaky gut present, and now you have this inflammation response, now you have this autoimmune response, now you're being diagnosed, oh my gosh, you have diabetes.
So we have a couple free giveaways for you today. Number one is our Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook. If you're looking for lowering your blood sugars, lowering your A1C, losing weight, getting your energy back, reestablishing good health, this ebook is yours free. All you need to do is text the word diabetes plus your name and email to 704-906-2094. Again, 704-906-2094. And as an added bonus, you automatically get free access to the masterclass we're hosting next Saturday, Destroying Diabetes, where I'm going to take you live step by step through causes, corrections, and how you can engage a natural healing process to solve this thing called type 2 diabetes yourself. You'll hear from current patients who have broken their diabetes in 90 days or less. You'll even hear from people who have lost 30, 40, 50 pounds, reset triglycerides, had a massive change in their health because they stopped treating their symptoms and started underlying and finding their root causes. And today's topic is the surprising link between leaky gut or dysbiosis and type 2 diabetes, in that it's now being labeled as an autoimmune condition where your body becomes confused. It attacks the receptors that manage insulin and allow for sugar response to go into the cell. So if you damage the receptor, what's going to happen to insulin?
Well, then the insulin's not going to be able to even attach to that receptor.
So the levels of insulin go up, and as a result, the levels of sugar go up.
Also stay elevated,
and here's the classic response we see with the type 2 diabetic. When tested, insulin is high, sugars are high, and it scratches your head as a doctor because we would say, wait, insulin's supposed to make sugar go down. So if you've got a lot of insulin and you have a lot of sugar, you're resistant, and we now know it could be because of a gut leak.
Exactly.
So how do we test this? Okay, well, number one, we can go based off symptomatology, which we talked about before, or we can actually get more specific and run these leaky gut dysbiotic profiles. The joy of this is we know there's a specific balance between healthy bacteria and unhealthy bacteria in a similar fashion to how there's a balance between good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. When the ratio of these bacteria become out of balance, you lead to an inflammatory process that can start to create a gut leak. Now, there are some surprising causes that we can also identify by testing nutrients and looking at your cofactors and your enzymes. But walk us through what are the surprising sort of foods that we eat on a daily basis that are actually creating this gut issue in the first place.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And what's interesting is that this shouldn't be surprising for most of you. Most of you should probably be like, yeah, I've heard that before. I didn't think it was really that bad, or I could still have some of this. The answer is no. Every single time that you consume these foods, you put these chemicals, a lot of them aren't food, they're chemicals that are being labeled as food. You're putting that into your body. You're only adding to the inflammatory response that your body needs to create to try to deal with these toxins. So some of the things that you've probably heard of before, you know that sugar and alcohol can be big cause of inflammation in your gut, which will lead to the leaky gut. But think about this. How many of you are drinking a cup of coffee or several cups of coffee every single morning? And the caffeine in the coffee over time will lead to a leaky gut. The same is true with the artificial sweeteners. So I know the first thing that I said was sugar. Well, then the classic thought might be, well, why don't we just switch to an artificial sweetener, something like your sucralose or your Splenda and whatnot. And there's a lot of research that's come out, guys, and this is within the last even 10 years now, saying that these artificial sweeteners, they trick your body into thinking that something is sweet, but because it's that trick, it really isn't. Your body on the back end doesn't have the same healthy response that it would to sugar to deal with it. It has this unnatural inflammatory response to deal with what it's going is, well, what the heck is this? This wasn't sugar, but we think it's sweet. So what do? Well, let's create some inflammation, and maybe the inflammation will figure it out. And so these artificial sweeteners.
Guess what? A lot of the bacteria that are opportunistic and inflammatory, they feed off the artificial sweeteners. They feed off the alcohols. They feed off the sugars. And so by having a diet that's relatively high in these things, you actually perpetuate the inflammatory process. You support the growth of the opportunistic bacteria, and it leads to the dysbiosis and the leak in the first place.
Absolutely. So, with all of that, now you're adding more of the, not, it's not bad bacteria, but there's certain bacteria, like you said, that are going to say, hey, I really like alcohol. I love this artificial sweeteners. And there's other bacteria that's like, yeah, I don't really care about that stuff so much. And so now you have one type of bacteria that's outgrowing at a way faster pace than another bacteria. That creates a problem. That's going to lead to a leaky gut. And then some of these other things, high fructose corn syrup, which is not food. That is a straight up chemical that is made in a factory. It's made in a lab. It's not edible at all. But here it is as this sweetener that's used in so many different ingredients. And then trans or hydrogenated fats, those are also chemically made fats. It's literally the fat has been shifted. Its conformation has been shifted so that it can be in a different conformation, which is going to make the food product more stable. But think about what that stability means for what has to happen on our insides.
Yeah, it's
not good.
It's almost like the more we preserve a food, the longer we let it last off the shelf, in the house, on the counter, in the refrigerator. But then we eat this food and your body basically says, wait a minute, this thing has been packed together to last for a long period of time. I'm going to have to spend an exorbitant amount of energy and resources to break apart this food into its micronutrients. So this is why not only do additives and preservatives and dyes and fructose corn syrups, but any artificial or processed food takes a tremendous amount of energy to break apart. And it also can irritate the intestinal lining. And sometimes typically the toxic ingredients feed the opportunistic bacteria, which again creates the overgrowth. And then we lead to the gut leak.
Exactly.
So, and here's the thing. There have been connections between some key inflammatory foods and direct influence on your gut permeability. One of the most common, of course, is the grains, and even what we would label as the pseudo grains. So things that aren't wheat-based, but they're very similar to them, like barley and rice and quinoa and even chia seeds. The challenge here is that a lot of healthy foods, right? So like lentils and peas and chickpeas and soybeans and things like this, they're extremely high in legumes, in lectins. They're in the legume family. But lectins are a naturally occurring plant toxin that have been connected to also aggravating a gut leak equal to that of gluten. So we have to be careful because a lot of people say, well, hey, listen, I went gluten-free, I lost 5 pounds, everything's looking good, so I'll just stay on that. But you got to be careful because of the pseudo-like grains and also the legumes that are found in a lot of peas and peanuts and chickpeas and things to this effect. We also know that nightshades are a very reactive food against a gut leak, so it creates more of an inflammatory process. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, potatoes, these all fall in the category of what people would say, well, they're vegetables and they're tubers and they're roots. This must be good for me. But again, if you have an irritation to the gastric lining and you eat these inflammatory food products, you're only going to perpetuate the gut leak. And if you're a type 2 diabetic, this is sort of the food list we should be avoiding, right? No grains, no legumes, no nightshades. We have to cut gluten. We have to cut dairy. And that is partly why I think you're grabbing this. We have an entire sort of food list available for you in our Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook, which you should grab right now. Text the word diabetes plus your name and your email to 704-906-2094. Again, your name, the word diabetes, and your email, 704-906-2094. We'll shoot the ebook over to you. It has everything we've talked about with what causes a gut leak, what are the foods you can use to help to support it, how do we deal with the previous topics of the toxin-induced resistance and the neurological interference. And if you engage in that, guess what? You get the free masterclass, which is on the 8th of April. It's coming up next weekend. It's at 10 a.m. in the morning. We'll come live to you right through a webinar-based platform and teach you how do you identify not just the gut leak, but the nerve interference, the toxic interference. How do you engage in a healing process so you can become your own doctor? It's all free for you. 704-906-2094. Again, text the word diabetes, your name and your email, and we'll send it right over to you.
Absolutely. And so I think now where we really need to head is, this is great. You've told us a lot of information, Dr. D and Dr. Ernst, but how do we start to heal this? You said there's going to be some action steps. And so we have to start talking about, what can you do? We already talked about, if we talk about a toxic cause of a leaky gut, and, Dr. Ernst, you just mentioned the legumes, not just the gluten, but all grains and the other pseudo-glutinous grains and some of the other nightshade vegetables. You should eliminate those immediately. If you think you have a leaky gut or you think you're heading towards, you've been told you have type 2 diabetes, and maybe you have none of the other symptoms. Maybe you don't have the brain fog and the bloating after a meal, and you don't, there's this, a lot of those symptoms that we talked about. You're going, yeah, I don't have any of that, so why would I do this? but you're being told you have type 2 diabetes or you're pre-diabetic. So you're already there. Even just because you have the symptom, right? The symptom is not the problem. The problem is the fact that you have these underlying root causes that you've let be unaddressed for however long a period of time. And so you should immediately say, well, what can I do to start to fix this now? Even if it takes more intervention, even if you need to have the testing done so that you have a specific plan of actually what nutrients your body needs to heal, the actual steps that you need to correct whatever the neurological or toxic interferences are. You can start eliminating things right now. And
this is why we call it it's the first R in the 4R approach. You have to remove the interference, you have to remove the toxicity, you have to eliminate the foods that you're eating that are creating the inflammatory process in the first place.
Exactly.
So step number 1 is you've got to get rid of grains. You have to get rid of the lectins and the nightshades because that will allow your gut to rest and regenerate and heal. And this is where we now start replacing those bad foods with more healthy, holistic foods for the gut.
Yep.
Some of the most common are going to be bone broth. It's high in glutamine. It's high in proline. It's a soother for the intestine. So you can start doing fasting with bone broths. You can just use it as bases to your soups and stews to get the nutrients in. And also we need to look at the idea of removing the foods that we know we're sensitive to. One unique thing about, especially with type 2 diabetics, is if you eat a food product and you see your sugar shoot through the roof within 30 minutes to an hour, that's an identified food sensitivity.
Yep, exactly.
And many people know when I eat this, my sugar shoot through the roof. But what they don't do is they say, I need to remove this.
Right.
And we want to replace it with a healthier relationship of having food for controlling our sugars. We know that grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, free-range chicken, the turkey, eggs, etc., green vegetables, nuts and seeds. These are all nourishing food products that can help the gut to become de-inflamed and seal itself over time.
Exactly. And so I can give a really easy example, and this doesn't even relate to a human. What's amazing about our pet friends, right, specifically my dog, is that they don't have the opportunity to deal with a potential leaky gut or inflammation for a long period of time. They immediately show the signs that something is wrong, and you've got to do something quickly or the dog's body may not be able to handle it. So I can immediately tell that for whatever reason, there's been several things that have led up to me saying my dog must have a gut leak.
Yeah.
And so I went and got some testing done, confirmed that, and now guess what? My dog is on a bone broth fast. We've eliminated what might be an inflammatory food process, which I thought the food that we were giving my dog was healthy. Potentially not. We're looking into alternatives now, but at least we can start the healing process. My dog is consuming nothing but bone broth for the next 4 days now.
Yeah. And we've even done these levels of fasts with adults and humans and gotten very similar results.
Exactly.
Because what you're doing is you're simply allowing the intestines to relax. You're not putting any food into it. You're not inflaming it. And the amazing thing about the human body is you remove interference and it can start to heal by itself.
That's right.
This is where next we have to start replacing some of those nutrients that are missing. We know probiotics are extremely important. But again, remember, don't just run off to a capsular-based probiotic. We want the healthy foods that are high in naturally fermented probiotics. These are going to be things like sauerkraut and kefir and kombuchas, kimchis, because when you eat healthy probiotics, you actually inoculate the colon at a much higher rate than if you just take a formulated probiotic.
Yep.
The other thing we can do is start using certain nutrients because we want to not just re-inoculate the colon, so the third R, right? We remove the interferences, we replace the healthy foods, we re-inoculate with fermented food products and probiotics. Now we need to start working on the repair, the actual sealing of the intestine. And one nutrient that has been shown to do this more than anything else is L-glutamine. It's an essential amino acid that has actually been shown to increase the sort of mucosal barrier. Think of it as like a protectant. It seals the holes of the intestines. And they've done studies that show it can reduce inflammatory bowel symptoms, meaning if you have gas and bloating, acid reflux, indigestion, the classic symptoms of a gut leak, and you also have type 2 diabetes because of the gut leak, you start supplementing with glutamine and you'll see the intestinal inflammation starts to go down. And there's even studies showing glutamine can help to lower blood sugar.
Yep.
Why? Because it's not actually addressing the sugar, it's addressing the gut, decreasing the inflammation and then the reaction decreases with the attack against the insulin receptor.
Right. One of the things I love about glutamine is when is it most active? One of the things that sets it apart from other intestinal barrier helpers is that it is most active. It's going to have its best effect when we're under stress.
Yeah.
So how many of you are dealing with the stresses of life day in, day out? All of you, right? So if you have these high levels of stress, well, other things that you may be doing to try to seal your gut or whatever the case may be to help your health, they may not be working as well as glucosamine can. So there's a lot, or the glutamine. So there's a lot of benefits to taking the L-glutamine, especially when you're in this high stress state day in and day out.
And here's the joy of it. You don't necessarily have to always take it as a supplement. Glutamine is found in grass-fed beef. It's found in bone broth.
Yep.
It's found in even some versions of healthy grass-fed dairies like a fermented kefir. Red cabbage, by the way, an exceptional resource for naturally occurring glutamine. And remember, what it does is it helps to seal the intestines, it decreases the inflammation, it nourishes your healthy bacteria, and basically it becomes sort of a nutrient for regeneration for the intestines. If you decide to take it, the recommended dosage is between about 2 to 5 grams. And it's simple. You can just stir it into a glass of water and swallow it. You can take it as a capsule, or you can incorporate it into your foods, which will help your body to begin the repair process. I think also too, the other big thing is that we want to make sure we're working on controlling the timing that we eat. We know that intermittent fasting has been shown to help with reducing an inflammatory gut because you take food away for a period of time. And one of the greatest oils on the planet, okay, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's an essential oil, some sort of like healing oil. That's coconut oil. They've actually shown that coconut oil, because of the lauric and capric acids found inside of it, are naturally antibacterial, which help to calm down the dysbiosis. They're naturally antiviral, which gets rid of the pathogens and the toxins that can leak over into the intestines. And if anything, it's one of the most nourishing, soothing oils for the intestine because it helps to, again, seal the barrier and create more motility to get the bowels clearing themselves out.
Exactly. And I just want to add too, with coconut oil, if you're one of the people that's like, yeah, I probably have this gut leak, I also get these skin rashes all the time, coconut oil works great on your skin to help support those as well. It's not addressing the root cause, but it can be helpful there.
So if you're looking for an exhaustive list of things you can do right now to start sealing your intestines and healing your gut, download our Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook. It's yours free today. Text the word diabetes with your name and email to 704-906-2094. That's 704-906-2094. And let's also get engaged with the masterclass that we're hosting next Saturday. This is a live event. We have hundreds of people already registered. You can join us in addition to grabbing the ebook. Again, the word diabetes with your name and your email. You automatically get the ebook. You get registered for the masterclass where we're going to teach you step by step. How do we identify this? Not just the things we talked about today, but what can you start doing right now at home to begin a healing phase to reduce your sugars, reduce your A1C, reduce your weight, boost your energy, get that essence and that vitality back. And it's all yours and available. You just need to pick up your phone, grab your texting app, and send the word diabetes with your name and email to 704-906-2094.
Yeah, and one thing I want to follow up on too is because some of you may be saying, yeah, okay, this is great. I've been doing this. I'm doing A, B, and C. I want to get rid of this leaky gut. I've been noticing that my sugars will look better. My A1C is starting to drop down. I'm doing everything that you guys are telling me to do. When do I get to reintroduce all the foods that I want to eat again back into my diet? And the answer has to be, well, you got to make decisions. The foods that you were eating led you towards a path of, or down a path of poor health. Why would you want to reintroduce that back into your diet? Yeah. But even there may be certain things like, well, I can't avoid even healthy grains forever. Well, then that would be where you get back into, and I think this could be the fifth R, rotating certain foods. Even if you're going, yeah, I'm gonna eat this at some point. Great. You're rotating it in where you have it maybe, and then for a specific period of time, but then you rotate it back out where you're not eating it. So if there was anything that was inflammatory associated with that food or that process, your body now has an even longer period of time without it to heal from that, right? Your body can heal on its own, stop giving it the stimulus to create more inflammation and lead down that negative pathway.
And all the information that Dr. Chris just mentioned and everything we've discussed today is summarized in the Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook. Guys, this is your last chance to grab this, as the masterclass is next Saturday. The book is yours free. The webinar event is free. Text the word diabetes plus your name and email to 704-906-2094. We'll send you the ebook. You'll get connected with the resources for the masterclass. I'll see you next Saturday, not just for the show, but also for the masterclass itself. And let's solve this thing called type 2 diabetes the right way. Remove nerve interference, get rid of toxicity, clean out and seal the heel and fix the leaky gut. And you watch as type 2 diabetes starts to dissipate in as little as 90 days. Thanks for tuning in today. I look forward to seeing you guys each and every week. I know Dr. Chris, very excited about our shows that we do.
Absolutely.
And again, last chance offer, guys, 704-906-2094. Text the word diabetes with your name and email. The ebook on solving diabetes is yours and the masterclass is yours. And we'll see you guys next week.
Have a great one,
Until
guys.
then.
Bye.